All right, so how's it going, everybody? So I am going to do a real quick live, maybe. Let's see what we got here. Maybe not. It says I am. But it yeah, well, we'll see. So I'm going to turn my volume on here real quick. Well, we're still working some bugs out. Yeah, well, we'll see. But it looks like that everything is okay. So, first and foremost, we're going to look at the radar, current radar. There is some scattered storms that are out near the Alva area, and they are moving off to the northeast. And so if you'll give me 1 second here, I'll get over there and we'll increase a little bit. So moving off to the northeast, nothing severe, obviously. Looks like that there might be a little bit of stuff over here by Manchester. Perhaps that's maybe even a fire that is taken off. It does not appear to be moving like the rest of the storm. So I would say that that's probably a burn that is going on right now. You've got some rain that's coming in from the west that is over west of Alva along Highway 64 and 14, and it is moving off to the northeast. Should be intersecting Highway 281 here in just 1 second. Let me stop this and I'll go over to the manual tracking and we can kind of take a look at what is going on here. We'll draw a line. Let me see here. Sometimes it doesn't like my telestrator, so I have to bear with it. But let's see if it will let me do it now. No, it's not going to let me do it. But that's okay. You guys get the object of it anyways. So moving off, it's going to be going up by Capron and then Burlington area. Getting a little development there to the south. If you can see, there's a little bit of a border or a boundary that is draped from north to south just to the east of Freedom. And so that's why you're getting these showers. And so might hear a couple of rumbles of thunder out of it. I've not seen any lightning strikes on there, not showing any lightning strikes for the moment. But we need to take and move over here and take a look at some of the other stuff that's going to be going on. And that is going to be coming up for Thursday. And so this is the model. This is what we have to look at from the farthest out portion. And so day 6, which is Thursday. And so the first thing that we're going to look up is we'll look at the surface and precip, and we're going to look at the winds that are going to be coming through. So out here on the west coast, there is a big ball of energy. Here's the low pressure that just moved through and created all of the bad stuff that happened down in Mississippi last night. And so as we go, we'll know that this is going to dip down and then move across. And then it's going to become somewhat diffused because, and I'll talk about that here in just a second, but here comes the data. As it comes in, you'll see that this is starting. Here comes the bowling ball of energy across. And we get into Wednesday, 18Z. We start to see a little bit of a low pressure developing out here. over Utah, and it progresses to the southeast a little into the Colorado, southeast Colorado region. And also pay attention to these lines of isobaric here, because what's going to happen is these are going to tighten up, and so we're going to see some pretty strong winds coming out of the south and southeast, and that will be building the setup for Thursday evening severe weather. So start to see a little bit of stuff coming through here. Now this is the winds aloft, okay? And so as it moves through, you see these lines tighten up. One thing, now here it really is really diffused, and I don't know what happened there. Let me get back here. Okay, so here we are, 18Z, there's 21Z on 30, or on the 30th, yes. And so Thursday evening at about 3 to 4 p.m. there is 7 p.m., 9 p.m., midnight. And so next we'll look at the dew points. I'll spare you all of the problems of going through all of that stuff, and we'll just move to basically where we start to look at that region. My data is slow today, so bear with me. Okay. Now it's starting to catch up a little bit. So we'll progress again. You notice the green starting to come in? So that's moisture transport. So that system that's out here, this bowling ball, is drawing up that wind, and it's bringing up that moisture from the Gulf. And you see the dew point starting to increase. Here we have 52. Okay, continue to watch. 54s. Now we really start to get moistened up. 60-degree dew point, 62 down in southwest Oklahoma. And then the moisture really starts to come in heavy. So this is, again, at 4 p.m., 3 to 4 p.m. There is 6 p.m., 63 dew points. And there is 9 p.m., 64, 65 in that region there. Even up into southern Kansas, you're looking at 62 dews. So what is all of that saying? Okay, we go to the severe weather now. Okay, so surface-based CAPE, which is convective available potential energy. And so that basically is the fuel that makes the fire. And so you'll notice that that increases here in just a second. Now then, I will say this, that this is several days out. Model data will change. So we're not lock, stock, and barrel on this already. We're going to have to wait and see what the other models say. The closer that gets, we start getting into the medium range, then we get into the short range models. And so we'll have to really pay attention to what this is. But the signs are there for maybe some severe weather on Thursday, starting anywhere between 3 p.m. and going all the way through probably till about 11 o'clock at night. So once it moves through and clears out, everything will be okay, but we'll definitely have to keep an eye for sure, especially as the models get closer. So we're going to make our way through. Everything's fine now, but as we get longer into the week, here comes that ball of energy over here. You can see it spinning even with that. And now here comes the moisture. Okay? And so this is the convective available potential energy again. So now we start to see it. There's 18 Z's, so 6. There's 3 o'clock. there's 6 o'clock. So Alva, Wakita, Medford, all in that area, the Cape really jumps up. So there's 1261 right there. And so if I click anywhere on this, there's 1243. Let's click on that. So that's pretty juicy, and that's down at the surface. Okay, so let's click on that and see what it brings up. This is what they call a hodograph. So what we're looking at turning in the atmosphere, which there is definitely turning in the atmosphere. There's almost a 10-point dew spread. Okay, there is a little bit of a cap, which is not unbreakable. Also, the other thing that we look at here is curved hodographs. And so that means that there's actually rotation in the atmosphere. And then we come down and we look here at the significant hail and supercell characteristics. These are matches that have been uploaded and are in a database. And so anytime these parameters match each other, then it will say, hey, we found some matches. And so here it is. So we have supercell characteristics as well. One showing significant. We don't really have to be all worried about that stuff, but it's just saying, hey, we've got that potential. This is also for significant hail. So 2.75 inch in diameter. Does that mean that it will hit the ground at that size? More than likely not, but it's saying that it has that capability to take and do that. If you look at here, the level of free convection and the base of the storms. So basically your storms are going to be surface based because they're way down low. They're at 1 kilometer above. So they're surface based supercells. And then also, are they going to be a high precip or a rain wrapped situation? And what it's showing right now is no. It's going to be your typical supercell with hail core rain and a rain-free base, and then you'll have a wall cloud. And so this is your directional indications of what way that the shear is showing here. I can't zoom in, but you have a almost southwest component and almost a south component. So a little south, almost southwest, but it still is enough churn in the atmosphere for that rotation to happen. Does that mean just because it says marginal tour that there's going to be one? No, not at all. But it's just saying we need to keep an eye on this. We need to watch and see what happens. All right. And so that is the surface-based cape. The other thing that we want to look at is EHI. So that is helical or energy helicity index. And so just like anything else, a helic coil that you put into to put a bolt into an engine block or something like that, or some other piece of machinery, basically the same thing. So it's saying, hey, how much rotation is in the atmosphere? And so this is going to be something else. So we'll look here. We're starting. There's Thursday at 03Z. Let's back up a little bit. We need to go to Friday. I'm sorry. Okay, now we start to see that energy, or EHI, make its way. It basically the same path that the convective available potential energy took. And now we hear it. We got it up into north central Kansas, mid central Kansas, out in western Oklahoma, and southwest. And now look, boom. So if we were to take, and we're going to see the same thing here, there's a 2.8. That's pretty close to the Oklahoma-Kansas border. Same scenario. So doesn't change any here. Precipitable waters 0.85, so it's not going to be super rainy. Nice curved hodograph, meaning there's turning with height, and also we have these matches here. So, it's amazing that they can take and look at this data and look to see what's going to happen. This is just another tool that we have to look at. This is called supercell composite. It tries to draw out where it thinks that the best area for supercells is going to happen at. And so one of the things that we look at, and as we get closer and closer, like I said, mid-range models come in, and then you get the short-range models. Mid-range models are going to be the NAM 3K, and then you get into what they call the HRRR, which is high resolution rapid refresh. And you'll be hearing those terms quite a bit whenever you're listening to me talk and when we're doing these forecasts. But as we go throughout the day, we see, and we've got to wait, obviously, until we get over into that time frame. So there's Wednesday. Here comes Thursday. So Friday, going off of GMT time, we have to pay attention to this, right? So plus 6 hours. So what we would normally see, so Thursday at 21 is 3 p.m., right? There's 6, okay? And again, we have SIG Tour, Supercell Composite of 9 out here, basically just west of our target area, but Alva, Cherokee, even probably east of Freedom there a little ways, all the way up into south central Kansas, and all of that. And then all of this is going to march off to the east, northeast. And so you're going to have that directional flow that is coming across. I can show you here just a second. I'm going to show you the 500 millibar heights and what I'm talking about, because we know that there's a river of air that's above us. Okay, here is the current river of air that is above us. Okay, this is almost what they call meridian or zonal flow, because it's almost straight across. Okay, and so basically what will happen is, as we get closer to that day, you will see dips. So you have a northern jet stream, which is up here. It's going to drop a little bit south, and this is the southern jet, and that's the one that we have to watch during March, April, May, June. June tends to lift a little bit further north and affect, South Dakota, Wyoming, Kansas, Nebraska, and all of that. So, but you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. So watch this dip. It'll come in, and then it kind of gets stretched out because it ties in with this other northern jet. And watch what happens to it. So here it comes. There's the zonal part of it. It's probably going to wig out on me because I'm moving a little bit too fast. So, but here we go. Here comes that big bowling ball of energy off of the west coast. Here comes that big dip. Okay? That's what we call positive tilt. So if it goes off to the northwest and northeast like that, it's a digging trough still because it's diving to the south. But watch what happens in the next scan. It kind of loses its oomph a little bit. Still there. Look at the ISO bars. Really, really tight. That's 50, 60, 70, 80 knots of shear. There's 86, 89, 90. So, up at 30,000 feet, man, I mean, it's cooking along. And so that's where your rotation comes from. Here it is. There's 106 knots basically right over. And that's in Friday. So that's 18Z on Friday. So the storm system hasn't actually moved out completely, and it only strengthens as it goes further east. So it will be a multi-day event, I would imagine, if the models stay the same. So, but we have to be careful about that. Now let's look down at the surface and see. Let's go to 925, which is just above the ground. All right. And then we'll take and we'll check out the other stuff there in just a second. But that's one thing that we have to watch for whenever we're looking, especially in this time of the season, because generally if there's a storm system that moves through and it's a potent system. There was convection that happened the night before, like there was last night, that came through. So they leave little boundaries, and so storms act really funny sometimes off of those boundaries, and that's basically what's out to the west of you all right now. And so that's why those storms are actually going up. So here comes that energy. This is down low. There's Monday. Here comes the energy off of the west coast. That's our next storm system for Thursday. And there's Thursday's 06, 09, 12, 15, 18Z. So there's your southerly component at 40 knots. So just a couple of thousand feet above the ground, it's zipping along at about 45 or 50 miles an hour. And so that's more than enough directional shear, okay, to create rotation in the atmosphere. There's 40. And so that's at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. I'm sorry. There's 9 p.m. And so it actually strengthens. And so what you'll hear oftentimes as well as low-level jet kicks in. So the low-level jet kicks in between 6 and 9 p.m. Over basically the whole entire region. And so anytime that you get that, you have the opportunity for that rotation in the atmosphere. Like I said, I'm not trying to scare anybody or say anything that's going to happen. I would never do that unless it's been pinpointed on the radar. And then I would, say, hey, y'all need to take your tornado precautions. But so right now, we're in a slight risk for that day, which means it's a 15% probability. Chances are, if that thing slows down or dips more or becomes more negatively tilted or positive tilt, which would be not positive but neutral tilt, straight up and down, then basically it would be something more important to take a look at. It's not that it's not important right now, but what I'm saying is it would definitely be an eye catcher. So maybe possibly even an upgrade to enhanced risk instead of just a slight. Or, if everything just goes nuts, which is possible, then you could even see a moderate risk. And so those are ugly days. For one, they become very hard to see in. And so you never want to take and take stuff for granted during those days. So yeah, there's that. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's put this in a loop and see. So if Jay's watching, if I don't know if he is or not, but maybe he could let me know. Obviously, they would probably be working that if it is a fire. And I can actually look at visible satellite real quick too and see if that's indeed what it is. So I have the availability to do that. I can go to my weather analysis tools and pick up satellite radar and go with the IR. And then we'll zoom in. We'll go to a localized sector and see. But I can almost tell. Yep, I can tell already. That is a fire. So there are several of them going on right now. Pretty big hot spot showing up on satellite radar. So one out in western Oklahoma, back behind that boundary, and then two really hot spots that are over there right by probably Waukeeta. So let me just take a move over here. That might be a little bit further to the east, maybe over around Call City. Because because that's pretty. There was definitely one over there, right by Manchester and Waukeeta, though it looks like, from what I'm seeing on radar. So these storms are starting to kind of die out. So by the time they get over, you may not ever even see any rain by the time it happens. So I know that's probably not what you want to hear, because I know that there is a lot of uh, need for moisture right now, obviously, especially with these fires going on. So anyway, just wanted to give you a quick update on what we're going to be looking for on Thursday. Also, for today's weather, no severe chances today. Like I said, these are just pulse storms. They'll go up, they'll go down. They're nothing really to worry about. You might see a little bit of hail out of them, but they look like they're on the downslide right now. So if anything, it would just be a blessing to get good rain out of it. But anyway, so that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. I'll be watching for the weather. I'll give you an update. I won't do it tomorrow. I'll do it on Monday, and let you know what we're seeing. So that should be 4 days out, and models will start to come in a little bit more. And also, I will throw this out there as well, that we have a Discord server now that you can sign up for. I know maybe some of that stuff is talking craziness to you all, but let me see if I can actually take and put that on here. Let's see. I don't know if I can or not. I haven't seen it come up to where it was saying that the chat bot was working. So this thing's a little goofy sometimes. But anyways, I gave that information to Jay, Jay. And so hit him up and ask him for that Discord information, because what that will do is that will also give you access to the day one convective outlooks, as well as any other things that are put out by the National Weather Service or the Storms Prediction Center. So day one convective, day two convective, day three convective, all the way up to 4 through 8 convective. Anything else that's going on, including fire weather. So it'll be a good benefit for especially those that are on the firefighting team up there around Waukeeta and Medford and all of those areas, even up into the southern Kansas region, Kiowa, Medicine Lodge, and those others that are there. Burlington, Anthony, Caldwell, Medford, Pond Creek, Nash, Cherokee, Helena, Jet, all of those places that have volunteer fire departments that go out and fight these grassland fires and wildfires. So, anyway, so it looks like maybe, so that line of storms is actually probably a little bit better, more intense up there in around the Medicine Lodge area. Some of those cells are starting to intensify a little bit more. And like I said, these out by Avard and Alva and everything else, they're not moving all that fast. However, if you get some rain, be thankful for it, because I know that y'all need it. Western Oklahoma, Northwest Oklahoma, North Central Oklahoma, even down here in near Cashin, where I live, same thing. So we could all use a lot of rain to green things up and help keep those stinking fires down. So anyway, that being said, I will sign off for now and be looking for that broadcast on Monday, Lord willing. We'll do that. And so I'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And be sure to share this with your family and friends that live in North Central Oklahoma and South Central Kansas. So share it, like it, subscribe, follow, whatever it is, and then be sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be alerted whenever we do go live. And so we're going to be making some more things happen on the channel as well that will help. But for the most part, I think we've got it set up where we want to. And last thing is you see a donation thing up there. We're working on setting up something for that, and it's not that I'm begging for money, but I would appreciate donations if you can find it in your heart to do that. So, with that being said,